Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome. And as we begin the countdown for the Bihar exit polls and the numbers here at the News18 mega exit poll, viewers, there has been a deadly terror strike in the national capital and the 10-11 blast coverage will also be a part of this evening's special broadcast. Bihar, meanwhile, has fiercely fought the 2025 assembly election and it's reached the most crucial juncture with the second and final phase of voting concluding in a short while from now. The state's long and heated campaign has formally given way to anticipation. Voters across 122 constituencies spread over 20 districts have cast their ballot through the day in the second phase of polling, rounding off a high-stakes contest that's seen intense rallies, sharp political messaging and heavy turnout in several regions. Shortly from now, we will get you the most accurate and most extensive poll numbers on Bihar Assembly elections too. But first up, a quick check on the voter turnout, where phase 1, if that was a record at 65%, phase 2 is a record in itself because till 5 p.m. it's already touched 67.14% turnout, and that will be only revised upwards by the time polls close around 6 p.m. till the last person in the line is allowed to cast their ballot, and those numbers could touch nearly 70%. Now 70% in this entire Simanchal region, largely these two U's, the 2C of the phase, the shape, the borderline areas, and there to have such high turnouts. What does the implication of this? Is this a one-way swing for the incumbent, or is there an anti-wave? There are those who have gone down to Bihar. There are others who have spoken to analysts and spoken to Biharis, spread all across. The migrant voter base, all of these aspects come into play. Zaka Jacob with us, Rahul Shivshankar with us, Nistula Hebar, Rashid Kidwai and Rahul Verma with us here in the studio, along with our reporters also. We'll go across to them. Before we bring it inside here, just quickly going across to Arun Dhanta on ground. Oh, we'll go to him in a bit. Zaka Jacob, the numbers, how are they? Second phase, is this looking record?
I know we make a lot out of voter turnout data on the day the polls close, on the day of the exit polls, and then on counting day everybody forgets about it. But for whatever it's worth, it is a record turnout in Bihar. So this is the historical data that we have. So 2025, the first phase was 65%. Today we have 67% till 5 p.m. And I think, Anand, you're right, it could go up to 70%, maybe even upwards of 70%. So what we're effectively looking at is, somewhere in the high 60s, maybe 68 or 69% voter turnout eventually in the state of Bihar, which means if we end up with 68, 69, closer to 70% voter turnout in Bihar, that would be the highest that we've seen certainly in the last 25 years. The lowest was 46.5%, less than half in the year 2005. That, by the way, was the first election that Nitish Kumar won and became chief minister. It has been on an upward spiral ever since, 52, 56, 57. But this one would be a record. This would be a record. It would be higher than even, the ones that we saw when Lalu Prasad Yadav was in power in the 1990s. Of course, the familiar adage in Bihar at that time was a lot of it was ballot stuffing. But for the first time, I think we are looking at 7 out of 10 voters coming out and voting in a state like Bihar in a free, fair, and may I say, entirely violence-free election. I think that's a great testimony.
Largely incident-free, violence-free election. Before we take it to the seated guests, along with our, of course, good friend on Take 3, Rahul Shivshankar, consulting editor too. We'll go to him in a bit. Just quickly going across to Arun Dhata to understand and get a pulse of what happened on ground. Arun, what's the feeling on ground in terms of voter turnout? Are people saying this is unprecedented? Is it record tod?
Well, absolutely, Anand. I was in Simanchal region, as you were discussing, that it has a significant, political importance of that area. Of course, I was in two areas where I traveled today, Purnia and Katihar, and I could see the enthusiasm amongst the voters while they were standing, and thanks of course to the Election Commission, the way they conducted and the facilities which they provided to the voters in these areas, and therefore in fact the major issues which I found, because remember Anand, 24 seats are very, very crucial in this area, in Simanchal region, and in 2012 NDA performed well by winning 12 seats. There was a polarization which worked in their favor. This time around, what is going to happen? Because see, Prime Minister Modi, Amit Shah, Yogi Adityanath, Rahul Gandhi, all of them campaigned in this area very aggressively. The pitch of Prime Minister and Home Minister was about infiltration, demography change. And one thing that I have found, Anand, quickly, when I was speaking to the voters there, I felt this, the young voters, especially the girls who are studying there in the college, they're saying that law and order is a biggest catch for the voters. That they're saying that they can roam around in the evening, in the night these days. And also importantly, jobs and migration. These two are also issues in which, if you remember that the airport which has been inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi 2 months back, that is also helping a lot. I spoke to a gentleman. He is working in IT sector in Bangalore. He said, I took 3 times flight from Purnia to Karnataka. So that is also a big boost. And also importantly, Makhana board, which has been established by central government, that is something which is giving high hopes to the people there, because the infrastructure and the facilities around that will increase. Remember that Purnia and Katiyar
are a huge impetus to the farmer there in Bihar. Corn itself being used for the production of ethanol, Makhana board, and the cost of Makhana itself has risen more than 300 times, many people are saying, or at least 30 times if I were to discount that claim. But it's to huge profits, because that entire belt is the only one where these foxnuts grow in such large numbers, and this Makhana board is a big fillip, plus infrastructure. But all that matters, Raut Shivshankar, as you take this forward, would you look at the percentage or would you want to look at the absolute numbers? Because the base of voters also comes down by 42 lakh this time.